Back in 1996, Scream slashed its way into theaters, written by Kevin Williamson and directed by the late icon Wes Craven. The film would go on to become a horror masterpiece, smart, self-aware, edgy, and what many critics call the first meta horror film. The legacy continues now 30 years later with Scream 7. And joining me this morning is screenwriter and for the first time director Kevin Williamson. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I am great. I'm great. Thank you.
So we want to know, what was it like taking a stab at directing a franchise that you usually crafted as a writer?
Well, it was scary. It was daunting. It was exciting. It was all those things. And my first instinct was to say yes when they asked me because at the core, I'm a storyteller, and I wanted to sort of expand that. Beyond the page, I wanted to paint the picture in all ways, and that's why it was a great challenge. You always want to challenge yourself. So why not this one? It's Scream. It's what I love, and it was so great to jump back in with Neve Campbell.
Absolutely. And it not only was nostalgic, but it was really suspenseful as well. So sitting here 30 years later, are you surprised at just how much people are still clamoring for a new Scream movie?
It's mind blowing. I'm so thrilled. It's going beyond my wildest dreams. When we did Scream One, I was just trying to make my way as a writer. I wrote the script as a sample to get another job, and little did I know that it would find its way to a studio, and it would find its way to Wes Craven, and then we'd be making it. It would be out in theaters in less than a year.
So like you mentioned, you have the ultimate final girl, Neve Campbell, returning to reprise her role as Sydney. What has that been like?
Nev and I have known each other for 30 years, and so we've been great friends. And this just reconnected us in a work scenario. And she asked me to do it.
You tell me your name, I'll
When
tell
she
you
came
mine.
back to it, she was the one who asked me to direct the film, and so it was very special, and it was just sort of a very fun, exciting, emotional experience. And we worked really well together, and we had a blast.
Absolutely. And other OGs are returning as well, like Matthew Lillard's character, Stu. So what was the process behind bringing Stu back?
Well, there's been over the years, there's been this conspiracy fan theory that Stu has always been alive and that he didn't actually die, and that is something that has been cooked up through the fandom of Scream, and it was born out of Scream Two when he actually is standing in a party scene in the background. Matt Lillard came to visit the set that night. And Wes just threw him into a crowd scene, and he was spotted. And the thing about these movies is they live beyond just the theater, and people watch him through over the years. And finally, he was spotted, and the next thing you know, people started thinking, "Oh, that was a plant. He was there." And so he took that idea and just ran with it.
My husband and I are huge fans of the franchise. We've even studied one of our vintage old TVs and we're like, would it break? Would it not? Would someone pass away from that? Okay, so Nev had mentioned that back in the day, very top secret measures were put in place in terms of redacted script lines or not telling the actors that they themselves were casted as Ghostface. So making sure to keep things from leaking. With the evolution of the internet and social media, how do you keep things under wrap today?
It's nearly impossible, or it is impossible, but you do the best you can, and you really hope that the fans of our franchise know that the experience is part of the movie, and to sort of save that experience and let everyone have it, and no spoilers. And we do our best to honor that, but there's leaks. It's we live in a digital age where it can happen so easily, and it does. And you just do the very best you can and sometimes I remember when we did Scream 2, there was so much uh, you know uh, craziness around it. Everybody wanted to know who the killer was. We actually leaked several endings and several different scripts, so that at least we confused everybody and no one knew what was what. And we had to do that with Scream 2, and we might have to go back to that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kevin.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I hope everyone goes and sees it.
That was screenwriter and director Kevin Williamson. Scream 7 hits theaters February 27th.